Hello, guys. Welcome to Global Happenings. Today, we have a trending news here for you. And the headline of the news reads Doubts about Abba Kyari as the unelected president of Nigeria reduces as ex emir tells Nigerians the name President Muhammadu Buhari calls his chief of staff. All right, let's look at the news in detail. The former emir of Gwandu, Major Mustafa Jogolo, retired, has alleged that President Muhammadu Buhari recognizes his chief of staff, Abba Kyari, as the deputy president. Gwandu was reacting to the face-off between the National Security Advisor (NSA) Babangana Munguno and Nyari over the coordination of the country's security. He urged Buhari to sack both Munguno and Nyari for being greedy and selfish in the discharge of their duties. The former aide de camp to Buhari during the president's military regime stated that while featuring on a radio program in Kaduna, Jogolo reminded both Nyari and Munguno that Nigeria was greater than any individual, hence they should remember that all was washing. He said, and I quote, the misunderstanding between them was born out of greed, selfishness. If not, these two are brothers. They are all Muslims and from the same tribe. President Buhari has brought them to assist him in different roles. Why then should there be any conflict of rules? Truly, General Munguno had complained, but he did not refer to his complaint to the right people. He should have written directly to President Buhari on how he felt about his chief of staff. This is because Buhari tends to recognize his chief of staff as his deputy president. Buhari has said everything should be done through the chief of staff. This implies that Buhari has given him limitless power and he can do anything, but this is a misnomer. Recall that a circular from the office of the NSA had a few days ago alleged that Nyari had hijacked the coordination of security leadership in Nigeria. In the circular, Munguno had alleged that Buhari's chief of staff had silenced him in making strategic decisions on national security operations in Nigeria. All right, that's the news, and this has gone an extra mile to confirm, to reduce the doubts of Nigerians about most of the things that have been going on. Don't forget that for a while now, most people have believed that actually President Muhammadu Buhari is not the one really running the country. Though from also different quarters, we've also heard different persons saying that he is still in charge. That Buhari is still the one that is in charge of all the operations going on in the country. But events have proved otherwise, as oftentimes we tend to hear him overly quiet in certain things that happen in the country, and we hear other people speaking. Someone raised a question, and that question was, why is it that whenever issues of vital importance is being discussed, or when very critical things happen in the country, we do not hear the president specifically speaking to Nigerians, because there are certain issues that needs to be resolved with the president coming on board to talk to Nigerians. Instead, what we'll be hearing is the presidency. The presidency is not just President Muhammadu Buhari. It also, cut across different kinds of persons. We have Special Assistant to the President on Media, Loretta Onoche. When she speaks, it's the presidency that has spoken. The same also with Shehu Gaba. When he speaks, the same thing. Femi Adesina, if he speaks, it's the same thing. Mama Ndwara, if he speaks, it's still the same thing. This guy also, Abba Kyari, if he speaks, the same thing. So oftentimes Nigerians begin to worry about about it. Why is it that the president has not been coming out clearly to speak about sensitive issues that happen in Nigeria? And the response have always been that he's not really the person that is in charge. And most of the time, when you want to hear deeper things about this, if you listen or you go to maybe a place like Facebook or Twitter, a page of someone like Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and hear him talk, he does not mince words. He doesn't struggle with words. He doesn't say it as if he's not sure what he's saying. He says it very clearly that the person over there is not who we think he is, and that Abba Kyari and El Rufai and countless other persons that he normally mentioned, that they are the ones behind the presidency in Nigeria, that most decisions are mostly being taken by these people. So for the ex-emir who had also worked with Buhari, as his aide during the time he was a military ruler, he has gone to confirm the fact that what most people believe about Kyari is actually true. According to the ex-emir, Major Mustafa, he said that Buhari refers to him as he is deputy president, which means that the vice president is under him, because I can still remember there was a time there was a call for a particular conference to be attended in ECOWAS, and that particular meeting was meant for the president and the vice president, as at that time the president had gone on vacation, and when the call came in, he had to refer back to Aso Rock. And before we knew, what we heard was that Abba Kyari was the one that chose the Minister of Foreign Affairs to attend it, despite the fact that it was meant to be attended by the president, and if the president is not around, the vice president will attend it. It was after the ECOWAS personnel now no other person can attend this apart from the president and the vice president. And during that time, the issues people were talking, it went into the ears of the president, and the president had to openly instruct that the vice president should leave the Federal Executive meeting and leave now to attend that meeting. He came out a little bit very strict there. Now, the reason is because when you are being given a particular position, or when you usurp a particular position, not really usurping, but when you are being given the liberty to run in the capacity of a particular person, if you are not overly conscious, of your way of life, you might begin to act in that capacity, and you may trample on other people who are far bigger than you. That is just the situation. Abba Kyari also, when President Muhammadu Buhari came on board again, the second team, he said that all the ministers, not everything is going to be attending to this. Ministers should pass through his chief of staff over any issue that they feel it's worth discussing with him. And after a while, there was that rancor around, there was that rumor around that there is this cabal that is running the presidency. It came out from different quarters. This woman, the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, had her own version when she was screaming how she was being treated by the security in front of the daughter of Mama Ndwara. That is because of this and that and that. That is why she was treated that way. It came out from her mouth also that the husband seems not to be the one fully in control of everything that is happening in Nigeria. Came out from different quarters, and feelers from some of the journalists who are in the presidency went a long way to portray the point that actually the president is not actually the one in charge. All right, for example, let's look at a situation like what happened on the 1st of January 2020. Expectation, so many people were expecting to hear, because as at that time we transited into 2020 with a lot of issues hanging over the country: insecurity, kidnapping, banditry. There were so many unresolved issues before we came into 2020. The issue of the hate speech bill and all of that. So a lot of persons were expecting that the president was going to feature fully and possibly will grant answers to some of these questions. But it was amazing that the only person we saw was Garba Shehu, who is the senior special assistant He was on media. He was the one that came out. He was the one that sent, the write-up of the president, as he claims, to all these thing, newspapers and all of that, telling Nigerians what the presidency is saying. And as at that date, Donald Trump spoke to his people. As at that date, the president of Russia spoke to his own people. As at that date, the president of virtually all the countries that I saw or watched on the media, I realized they came one-on-one and speak to their own people. Now, even if the president may not have all the time to read the lengthy speech that was prepared for him, at least like Donald Trump, you need to see how he when he stepped out, what he said. The same thing with Putin. That's the president of Russia. When it was time for him to speak, he didn't go blah 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 around a lot of things or reading one long homily for his own people. Just a few words, hit here and there, maybe because of your health situation. Just hit here and here and there and there, and then let it go into the media, and the people will be satisfied with the fact that the president is actually in charge. But that wasn't the case. What we saw was Gabarshe, who came out and was telling Nigerians, we're like, hey, doesn't mean our president is not alive, strong, and healthy to be able to speak to his own people on the first day of a new year. It was quite an amazing situation. But what we are now hearing goes to confirm that truly the president may not really be the one fully in charge of a lot. Don't forget also, Mama Ndwara was also brought into the picture at one time, that he was the one truly in charge. And when Shehu Gaba came to talk about him, he said he was like blaming Nigerians. Why are we ranting? Why should we be talking to these people? Like, do we know their contribution to the economy of Nigeria? Do we know their contribution to the leadership of Muhammadu Buhari? And Nigerians have to shout him down. Oh God, what are you saying? Is that the person we voted in? We voted in the president because we believe in his government, because we believe he had the capacity to take care of every needs of Nigerians. Why are you coming to tell us that these people have contributed? If they believe that they are vast with knowledge that can help them stay in the position as the president, why didn't they contest? We are more interested in the one that we elected into the position of president. Nigerians were raging seriously about it. So, but what Mustafa has said, Major Mustafa has said, as Major Mustafa retired has said right now, is a pointer to the fact that all the rumors that Nigerians have been hearing thus far is actually true, because he's not just coming from the perspective of an outsider, but from someone who is really internal and who knows about the running of the presidency. Well, that's where we're going to leave it. Go to our comment section. Let us interact. What's your position about this statement made by Mustafa, Major Mustafa, who is a retired aide-de-camp of